Hi, it's Jeff Ondash, and welcome to another edition of Business as Usual. You know, when you think about going to a really nice restaurant and getting a very delicious meal, one of the top places that come to mind is Rachel's Restaurant in Austintown. It's hidden off in its own little alcove there, but boy, oh boy, if you want to have some good food, Rachel's is one of the nice upscale places that you can go to. I'm here with Les Horvath, and he's the one that brought all this together throughout the years. I want to say it's like 5 or 10 years, but how long has it been?
30 years.
30 years 30. Here, or 30 years as a career?
35 as a career, if you count my first bar.
The bar.
That we opened back in the 80s. 30 for the restaurant, 14, going on 14 at this location here.
Yeah,
on
good.
Westchester.
So let's go back to the bar. So you started out at Leslie's Lounge,
Yep.
correct? Actually, one of the better softball teams in the area, too.
We were the best.
You were the best.
I hope.
Yeah, second best. Ours was the best. So you have Leslie's Lounge. That was a great place. You were a young guy at that time, and why did you want to get into the bar business?
I was doing construction. I was in the labor's union, and it just seemed like it'd be easier. And I was pretty good.
Had nothing to do with a bunch of guys that you wanted to have a good time with, right?
I was pretty good at drinking, so I figured, what the hell? No, but it was just something I always did. Our family was in vending for a long time, so I'd work the vending trucks through high school, and I was at all these bars, and it just seemed like something cool. And so I decided to do it, and that was it. That was back in the late 80s.
And that was a pretty successful run for you for about 5 years.
We were open, the bar was open from 88 to 96, 8 years, closed it. Then we reopened as the Checkered Flag in the Austintown Plaza.
But that was more of a restaurant now that you were getting into, right?
Right. That was where we moved the bar, correct. And but in between there, in 93 is when we opened up Rachel's.
Okay, and then you were coming now from a bar to Checker Flag was more of kind of like a family type thing to
right.
Now you're going upscale, the old sort of dinner club or supper clubs that they used to have years ago.
Well, we had the fine dining, and we were still running the bar. So when we closed Leslie's Lounge, I thought, let's do a sports bar, and so that's why we did it. And we had them both at the same time.
And Rachel's, though, is kind of morphed because you started out in a different location than where it's at currently.
Yeah, we started on 4 Mile Run Road, and we were there until the late 90s. Then we moved out to Boardman for a minute, and that didn't go very well. So we moved back to Austintown, and then we finally came to this location 14 years ago, and we're never leaving.
Never leave. And this has been, it really truly is one of the hidden gems because you're not located on Mahoning Avenue. You're actually off a side street here on Westchester. Correct. But the food quality is just second to none in the area. And that's one of the things that you've prided yourself on.
That's correct. We know what good food tastes like in our family. We cook all the time. And that's very important. As long as you can cook and you know what good food tastes like, you should be okay. When we moved to this location, we started a lot more in the catering end of it. So we still have the restaurant open Tuesday through Saturday, but we cater 7 days a week.
Yeah, and catering now has grown from. I'm sure when you started off, you wanted to do catering, but you had no idea that your catering was going to grow to where it's at today.
Yeah, I don't know if we really wanted to do catering when we first opened, but when we started to do carryouts and showers and things like that, it sort of evolved. And then we became the on-site caterers for Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish Center, which seats 350 people, and that was 15 years ago. And we're the exclusive caterer there, and that's when it just started that we found our niche. So we're there. We got 2 banquet rooms here. We're off-site. We cater 7 days a week.
Right, and by off-site you mean you can go to somebody's venue, somebody's business, somebody's location, and bring the food there and take care of everything for them.
We do. We do everything from delivering food only to, doing the whole event, which has been getting tougher now since COVID. It's tough to staff a lot of things. So. I think my niche is the food part of it. We really really concentrate on sending food out, not so much the other unless you're on site.
So Rachel's, as it was running for the first, let's say, 10, 12, 13 years, it was really just growing and growing and growing. And unfortunately, we all lived through a couple of bad years here with COVID. And the restaurant industry was probably the hardest hit when it first came about, when COVID first came about. So tell us a little bit about the challenges you had to go through to get through that.
It was difficult, just like for every other restaurant. We have some really key people here. My brother, my mom's here, Linda, and we worked nonstop. And we never closed except for the period that they mandatory closing. But we did the carry out. But as soon as we were allowed to reopen the restaurant, we did. So we've never really missed a beat. We adjusted our hours a little bit. We don't stay open as late. But for the most part, we're fighting through it like everybody else.
And it's getting better, but it's not still back to where it once was, right?
No, it's got a ways to go.
Is it because of the employee problems? Or is it because and food costs have gone through the roof too? So you've got kind of a double whammy there.
Right. Everything is gone. Everything has changed. Finding the good employees is tough. Labor cost, obviously, you're paying more. Operating costs are high. Food costs are high. And one of the biggest things is we do so much carry out. Our carry out containers and to-go products has doubled, and so it's very difficult. Most people understand. We adjust pricing accordingly. We try to stay fair, but it's definitely been tricky.
You thinking, and how long do you think it's going to be before, or do you think it'll get back to the way it used to be?
I don't think I'm going to ever see it, to back to the way it used to be. Back in the day, I mean, we were cooking to 11 o'clock at night. Now we're home at 9:30, 10. So I don't see how it's going to change. Back in the day when we first opened, like you mentioned, a supper club. We really weren't a supper club, but people came out to dine and, dressed up, looked nice. Now we're definitely way more casual. Even me and my brother, we used to always shirt and tie, always. And now I'm in a chef coat. He's in a polo. So it's definitely changed. I don't see it coming back to the way it was.
And your hours, you're in most restaurants, pretty much all restaurants are closed an extra day during the week. The hours are lessened, but is it easier now getting employees, or is that still a challenge for you?
It's still challenging. It's challenging.
It's got to be tougher on you, though, because that just puts more of a demand on your time, and you only have 24 hours in a day, so you can only be stretched so much. But when you get all that extra thrown onto you, and that's got to be difficult.
It's difficult. I'm glad my kids are grown. It'd be tough right now to be raising kids and doing what I do.
I was in here one time, and you were on the phone with someone, and they were basically begging you for a catering job, and you said, "I'm sorry, I have 3 that day. I can't do that. I cannot put another one on. I just don't have the people to pull this off for you." Right. That's got to be probably the most difficult thing for you to do, is to walk away, because you've put all this time and effort over the 15 to 20 or what'd you say, 30 some years?
Yes, 30 years at the restaurant, okay. 35 in the industry.
Say 30 years going into this, and you literally have to walk away because you don't have the horses to pull that off. That's got to be probably the most disappointing thing, I would think. It's
very disappointing. And, even when we were fully staffed, though, and I've been fortunate. You have to draw the line somewhere. Yeah. And somebody wants food, and you can only push so much food out of the kitchen. It's tricky. So you try to balance it. You do your best, and you hope people understand.
And you've done a good job with it, because you're still cranking here. The restaurant is doing very well. You've made it through the hardest part of it, and your catering is through the roof right now.
Yeah, we're very busy. Like I said, I'm very fortunate. I appreciate it. We work really hard. We might not be perfect, but we work hard to try to be.
You might not be putting in as many hours, but you're putting more in every hour than you ever probably did before.
Right. I only work probably 85 to 90 hours a week.
Oh, so you're down then. No more 120. Well, that's a good thing. So where do you've been doing this for 30 years, so it's like second nature to you, but where do you see yourself going now with Rachel's and the catering in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
We're going to keep doing what we do. I think I have 10 years left in me. Maybe, hopefully, I can maybe 8. And then we'll have to make a decision. You know, when I was raising my kids, I pushed them away. I didn't want them to get involved in the restaurant business because it's such a difficult business. And now I'm trying to drag them in. And it seems like they don't, you know.
Are they draggable?
No, they're tough. They're tough. But, you know, so we'll have to see. Like I said, I'm going to be here for 8, 10 more years, and then we'll see what happens.
A good friend of mine once said that the only thing you want to do with a restaurant is eat at one, never own one, because of the amount of work that's involved. I don't think the general public actually knows the behind the scenes of what goes on.
That's great advice. A lot of people come to a restaurant or bar on a Friday and Saturday night, and they see all the action, and they get excited, and they're like, yeah, we should do this. We should do this. But yeah, it's very difficult.
Can you replicate it today if you had to start over today versus 30 years ago? Could you do what you did?
I don't think so. I don't think it took every bit of 25 of the years to figure it out. And believe me, I made some mistakes, but you know, I'm tenacious, and I just kept grinding, and you know, here we are.
So if somebody wants to get catering from you, or they can go to Immaculate Heart of Mary, they could come here. Right. So it just takes a phone call, or go to the website, or go to Facebook. There's lots of ways to get in touch with you. And you're pretty blessed too, because you've got someone here, Linda, that basically is your third arm.
Yeah, Linda does a lot here. You know, her, my mother, my brother, they're always here. You know, I prefer the phone call. We like to talk to people. You know, we get emails, we get Facebook and Messenger stuff, but we try to push everybody to making the phone call here. We could check dates easy or talk to people, but it is busy. And you know, we've heard a lot of times, well, we call, we can't get through, and you know, we do our best, and you know, that's the best way, is to call the restaurant.
And if someone does want catering, how much timing should they have? How much planning time should they put into that? I mean, obviously they don't want to call you the week of, but what would you suggest is a fair amount of time for them?
Well, you know, it just depends on the event, and you know, weddings. You know, girls are usually on top of the weddings. They're planning those way out. You know, if you're planning something, you know, a week or two ahead's great, you know, because then you know we can get the order and possibly make sure you get it. But if you call, you know, the end of a week and need something on Saturday, sometimes we're already booked, and it's kind of tough. And
for your rooms, you know, that's just a matter of if it's filled or not.
Yep, you call us for a date at either Immaculate Heart of Mary or the restaurant, or if we're, you know, off-site where you're allowed to bring in your own food. You know, you just give us a heads up, and we can book it, and we'll be there.
All right. One last question for you: the difference between a chain restaurant and an independent restaurant like yours.
Well, you know, the chains have, you know, buying power. They have, you know, probably a lot of finances available. You know, backing. They can move people around. You know, we have 2 bartenders. You know, franchise might have bartenders, different locations. They can move them around. So it's as far as employees go, you know, we have the same. You know, Linda's been here 26 years. Melissa was here for 26 years. Linda's been here for 22, but Melissa just left after 26 years. But we have long-term employees. A lot of the guys have been with me 15 and 16 years. So it's more of maybe a family atmosphere, I guess. You know, we try to keep it, you know, try to do for them as much as we can. You know, but other than that, you know,
But in terms of a chain restaurant, and I might be wrong, but a lot of them, the food's already prepared. And, they'll come in as dinners. They're not making it all right then and there. It comes in kind of pre-prepared in a package, and then they might just reheat it, and you think you're getting a freshly made dinner. Whereas when you come to a restaurant like Rachel's, everything is pretty much made back there.
Yeah, we do make everything in the back. Some of the products we buy are prepped now. And that's just because, and I'm talking like diced onions or sliced onions and things like that, just to take time off our back. I really can't, I really don't, I've never worked in a corporate kitchen. I've never worked at a location where I could actually say that how they make their meals. I really don't know. You hear things, but I'm not real sure. But we definitely, our saute line makes our saute dishes. We grill, our fresh cut meat, every day and every night. I mean, that's just the way it is here.
So, if you're looking for a great place to eat for dinner, Rachel's Restaurant, the menu's outstanding. You're going to find something on there for everybody in the family. It's a great locally, independently owned restaurant by this man, Les Horvath. They do just about everything they can to make sure your dining experience is the best it could possibly be. If you like great tasting food, you're not going to find a better place than right here. It's a nice little place off the beaten path, off of Mahoning Avenue on Westchester. It's by the PNC Bank, by Route 11. Just come down Westchester. Come right into Rachel's. The old Gatsby, that's right. My God, I haven't thought of that in a long time. Or if you're looking for some catering, these are the guys to call. Les, he could take the bigger parties down to Immaculate Heart of Mary, which is only maybe, about a mile away.
Right.
And then they've got two nice rooms, a very nice large-sized room here. And on the other side of the restaurant, they've got an area that could, how many could seat up front there?
Up top, we could do 120 that way. We do 100 over here. We even do the whole restaurant for events. For weddings or grad parties, you book the whole restaurant.
Close up the night and then book it.
Oh yeah.
So there you have it. So catering or casual dining, Rachel's Restaurant in Austintown is the place to go. Les, I wish you all the luck in the world.
Thanks, Jeff.
And I saw your degree back there too. We should probably talk about that from the School of Hard Knocks for being a chef.
Yep. That's it.
That's how you learn.
That's how you learn.
That's right. So stop in and see Les. You'll have a great meal. The great little bar area here. The libations are actually very, very good and tasty, and the food is second to none. So Rachel's Restaurant in Austintown is a place you want to go. That's going to do it for this edition, and we're going to see you again next time with another great story from Business as Usual. Les, you take care and good luck to you, buddy. See you soon.